Hi everyone. My name is Charles Mangwa, and today I'll be talking about navigation in React Native, aka the talk where I drive you crazy with insane library names. Let me start by introducing myself real quick. As I said, I'm Charles. I'm a student here in Paris. I've been a volunteer at this very conference for 3 years now, and this year I'm on stage, by the way. So, for my first talk ever, which is pretty exciting and very scary at the same time, but anyway. And I've discovered React Native back in June 2015 during a school project and wrote my first app ever with React Native 0.5 actually, and wrote this wonderful Minions dictionary app you can see right over there. So as time went by, I realized how important a great navigation experience was. So should you remember anything from my talk, let it be this quote from my good friend Theodore Braz, which perfectly describes the whole thing, in my opinion. Because when we talk about navigation, React Native itself already provides a few solutions. So we have, for instance, Navigator iOS, and Navigation Experimental. But as we heard earlier today, they are currently deprecated or not very well maintained, which is a bummer. So that's why we've seen the rise of couple navigation libraries for React Native. And this is just a drop in the ocean of what you can find on NPM, so don't worry about that. So some names might be familiar to you, like React Navigation or React Native Router Flux, because they are quite very popular today. And same goes for the amazing React Native Navigation and Native Navigation, pretty easy, which are the only two native solutions that are still maintained today. So I think they clearly deserve a bravo for that. But since June 2016, I'd been working on a project with Leo, and none of those were exactly what we needed. So, long story short, the project is called Wino. It's an app that helps you find the wine you should buy according to where and when you'll be drinking it. So, when we were working on this project, among all these great libraries, one really caught our attention: React Router Native. And the reason we love it that much fits in two words: just components. That's everything you need in order to use React Router since there before. So in terms of navigation in React Native, this meant that every single component could very easily be turned into a full-fledged route, for instance, something we had never seen before in React Native at that level. But the only drawback was that it doesn't ship with a navigation structure, which means that you cannot use it to go from a screen A to a screen B, for instance, and get this fancy animation on iOS we love so much. So that's why, after nearly 10 months of hard work, with 9 of them spent on NPM looking for an available package name, uh, here's the final result of this work, where we step up the naming convention with React Native Router Readers Flex. And thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. But yeah, more seriously, this is the real one, React Router Navigation. And you can find on this repo. So the idea is fairly simple here. Keep the just component spirit of React Router and just add mobile navigation on top of it. So we consider it more of an add-on than a proper navigation library itself. So that's why we have just a few components, and you won't necessarily use all of them. We have, for instance, a navigation, which renders one screen at a time and provides transitions between screens. These screens, which are in turn wrapped into our second component, the card component. So what you see here is the simplest way to get up and running with the React Router navigation. You just get a navigation component and pass as many cards as you want inside of it. So as you can see, we really try to keep the exact same API than React Router, so that if you are already familiar with it, you just don't have to learn something else to write your mobile app. So our next two components are actually quite similar, tabs and tab. So basically, if you are ever struggle navigating inside tab view, well, this is just for you. And last but not least, the bottom navigation component. So as you can see, we also try to keep a very constant API among all the components so that you just have to learn it once, use it, and don't use the documentation again. But we do have the documentation, don't worry. So that's a great thing actually with React Router navigation is that you just use components and that's it. For instance, if you already written a React.js or React Native app, or maybe if you are completely new to React, we really think that there will be just a very flat learning curve there. So you just need components and you should be good to go. So now, before the end, I'd like to thank a few people. People who are working on these libraries we rely on. I'm talking about the React Router, React Navigation, and React Native Tab View. So huge thanks to all the people working on these libraries. So if you want any details, I just published a Medium post where I take it further because I couldn't cover everything during this talk. And if you have any question, you can contact me or Leo on Twitter. And yeah, we are still working on it, so we'd love to hear from you what you can improve from what we've done, what are your ideas. The repo is there, we are just waiting for you. And this is something you might be interested in. Thank you, guys.